welcome to the Patriots News Network. I am Michael, and I'm here with our founder, Connor. He's the one who created the Patriots for the Reclamation of America Facebook group, and is what started everything that has been going on. Connor?
How's it going, everybody? I'm glad to be here with you, Mike.
Yeah, glad to have you. I'm glad to actually get everything going on this. Big things happening over there with us. So, yeah, you want to go ahead and talk about, well, let's get started on what we're going to talk about here today. Got quite a list set up.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's I'm stoked to have this off the ground with you, buddy. This is just one of many things that have come together really, really quick for us, and having a way to reach out to all the people and get information out as much as possible, as well as maybe have a platform where we can have state heads on as visitors and, really get information out to our group. And I think this is just a fantastic idea, and I'm stoked to be here.
Absolutely, and getting the news out, the proper news out to the people of America. Well, we're not just going to be sitting here giving you one side of the story. We're going to give you the whole side, and we're going to talk about the right wing, the left wing, and I can never remember who's who anymore.
You're right. I mean, and what it really comes down to is we're all going to have to take a stand soon as Americans. Doesn't matter what side of the political sphere you fall on. I myself, I am conservative, but it really comes down to freedom and liberty and opposing the tyranny that is going on in our country right now. That really has crossed the aisle in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always considered myself American as my political party. I'm American. I believe in the freedom for every single person, no matter what. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter what else is going on. So,
amen to that. I hear you.
I mean, that kind of brings me over to, speaking of being American, that brings me to our first topic. Everything going on with COVID today, and all the misinformation, the false positive. Have you heard about some of these people that have admitted on air to falsifying records for COVID positive patients?
I did hear there was the nurse testimony that I was aware of that she basically brought forth, right, that they were purposefully signing a bunch of tests as positive that weren't, and just to kind of perpetuate it. And another one, that might have been the same one where it was, I know that they added all the flu deaths with the COVID deaths.
Yes,
and,
I have heard that too.
Yeah, and it was just all of them counted as COVID deaths, and really only 1/6 of that, or about 17%, was actual COVID deaths, and they were all chalked up to COVID.
Okay, well, here's a link I just sent you in our chat here. It comes from MSN.com. It states, state lab finds 90 positive COVID-19 tests were false. Okay, I mean, that's only 90, but that's 90 plus how many more have they, like you said, added that were from the flu? I've heard,
and that's 90. That's 90 out of how many, though? Like, what percentage of that is
this says
falsified?
90 of 144 people tested between June 15th and July 17th received a false positive COVID test report. Many are nursing home residents. Now, that's another thing. They're putting all these positive people into nursing homes, and that's it. They die in there.
Well, you're right. And, I mean, Andrew Cuomo was, I mean, what he did is nothing short of criminally negligent, and he should be locked up for it and letting it spread to nursing homes in New York. But as you just said right there, 90 out of 144 people. That's way over 50%.
Way over. It says state officials said the flaw has been reported to the manufacturer, and the Federal Food and Drug Administration and DPH has taken immediate steps to make sure the patients are notified.
At that point, I think it's a little too late.
They've already freaked out. We're talking
exactly
June 15th to July 17th. That's more than the 2 weeks. I mean,
that's a month and a half. Yeah,
yeah,
or a little. Yeah, it's more than a month. And you know what? I actually have COVID right now. I know it's widely been a hoax, but it has taken me forever to get actual results from that lab. It took the better part of 2 weeks just to get that back. And what that does is, in this case right here, you have 90 out of 144 cases, right, that are false positives, and
Yeah.
that's going to perpetuate the hysteria and the chaos. It does nothing for us.
Yeah, and I'm 100% in the category of I believe COVID is real. Okay, that yes, there is a virus going around that is making people sick and killing people. I also believe that it was created by people. Like it was not something that just happened that mutated out of a bat because someone ate a raw bat in a marketplace. But I think that
No,
it was released somehow, some way. If you track it back, and I'll try and find the links for this and put them in the description in the video. There is proof that President Obama gave millions of dollars to the lab that it came from back in like
yep, that very
2016 or
Wuhan lab.
something. Yes.
You're absolutely right. And yeah, no, I think the science is there. They don't make it widely available, but the science is there that this is a manufactured disease or virus.
Yeah.
This is not naturally occurring, like you just said. Yeah.
And if we're finding out that it's a certain group that has paid for and plotted to release this virus at a specific time, then I think that things need to happen to them. And if we can find the evidence, that they need to go to the court of law.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the problem with all this, right? Is how do you hold people accountable? That's kind of a reoccurring theme in today's society is no matter what it is, whoever is left holding the bag, nobody holds them accountable.
Yeah.
And then the American people are just left out to dry, no matter how clearly we can see through it and we know who's at fault, and no matter what they do to cover it up, that just nothing is done because they have deemed a certain class of people above the law and untouchable.
Well, I believe that there's a specific document that exists out there today that states that when that happens, we have the full responsibility to take care of it and to do something about it. I believe that document would be called the Declaration of Independence.
Absolutely. And you know what? I actually put out, it's on the announcements and it's pinned to the top right now. A thought I had earlier about how just inevitable groups like ours have become, like when leaders refuse to lead, when they let the cities burn down around them, when they take away the fangs of the police force, which fear of police and legal repercussions is the only thing keeping the scum of our society in the shadows. When all of that is done, groups like ours are inevitable. We have to stand as citizens.
Right.
So
absolutely. And all right, Connor. So you wanted to touch up on some national news going on with the Patriots for the Reclamation of America. Am I right?
Yes, that's right. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we have a lot going on across the country right now. We made a lot of progress, basically in every state. The way the states are set up is some of them are still in their infancy, and at the very beginning, what it takes is just people stepping forward for leadership positions and for everybody in those groups to rally as many people as they can. And then from that point, we set up meets, and that kind of weeds out who's serious and who's not. And then once we know who's willing to show up, we can set up and do a lot of different things. We've had Back the Blue rallies that Ralph Tanaka, our guy in our state lead in New Jersey, has set up. Just had a phenomenal turnout the other week, and he's got another one on the way. We are supporting local restaurants in Maryland and Florida as well. We've been able to have the community call us and say, hey, we need help. And we've been able to show up and support them and make a difference. And that's what it's all about, is standing for our communities and each other. As well as some bigger news as well. BLM violent protests are scheduled for tonight and throughout the week in Kentucky. I believe there's one in Texas. There's several. Portland is an absolute war zone right now.
Oh,
so
yes,
what
I've
we
heard
need
so much
is
about that.
oh, it's a disaster, man. So really what we need is everybody that we can to reach out to as many able-bodied patriots. And even I say that, but honestly, we've had a lot of support. Great work has been done. We have disabled vets and people that still care about their country stepping forward and helping us out on every front. But every patriot we need to bring to the forefront now to take a stand across the board. And the more numbers we get, the more things we're capable of doing. So that's really my bit about national news for today. Is we just need membership up, and to keep moving forward, so we can continue to host rallies and back the blue events and you name it.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in joining us, you can find us on Facebook. They're the Patriots for the Reclamation of America. That's our main page. Run here by Connor. You'll see him on there. It's Connor Paul. And then we also have our state pages in there if you are looking for them as well. So definitely take a look and check us out. Things are getting rolling on that, and we're going to have a little surprise here at the end of this podcast for all of you. All right. So let's get moving on to our next topic. I don't know what I did with them here, though. Okay. Let's get a little political here, and let's talk about what we're doing with the upcoming elections. We obviously know the two forefronts. They're going to be the ones face off. Probably not debate at all, from what I've heard. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that, to be honest.
No, that's un-American, and honestly, in my opinion, I don't know whether it is or not. I doubt it's actually mentioned in there, but I think it should be unconstitutional that we shouldn't be able to hear our questions answered.
Well, absolutely, and that's kind of what the whole point of it is. And my personal beliefs, I told you, are more on the conservative side, and I know I want to stay away from bashing any political party, but the fact that Joe Biden refuses to debate on any level, I'm not attacking his party. I'm attacking him and I don't mean to attack him as a person either, but I think it's blatantly obvious to everyone that he has some sort of dementia or mental.
Something.
He's not capable. Yeah, something's going on there. That his brain is honestly applesauce, and he can't think far enough ahead to have a debate that wouldn't look and just be an absolute disaster for his party. I think that's the only logical reason that they're not having him debate.
Yeah, this was posted back on June 18th of this year. The campaign of Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden had refused a request from the campaign of Republican President Donald Trump to hold debates in which Trump himself chooses the moderators. Okay, well, everyone's going to say that's why he decided not to. Okay, well then, why don't you have a second debate where Biden chooses the moderators, and then guess what? We can have even a third debate where it's moderators from both of you guys. Why not?
And that's how it's supposed to work. And I mean, I know the incumbent president, the different. Obviously, Trump, as the one that holds office, has certain, I guess, advantages, right? But I know that with multiple debates, and there's always normally at least 3, sometimes in rare cases there's 4, but there's always at least 3, and they are set up so that if everybody thinks that one specific way favors one party heavily over the other, that the other party has a chance to act and change like you said, they can have moderators from the Democratic Party for the second one, whatever it is, even if they were to have absolutely nobody in the room but those two and the whoever's running it, and that's it, to follow the COVID rules.
Why not just do it through video chat? I mean, I know
that's a great
idea.
Technology
to do it. Biden can stay in his house, Trump can stay in his house, and guess what? We can have a debate.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, at this point, there's just no excuse, and really,
it's cowardly.
I know he's not. It is, and I mean that adds a whole nother level to his mental capacity, because you have to think he should be able to at least read from a teleprompter or have cards or signals, whatever. But if he really can't, in any capacity, perform well enough to even have a debate, how are you running this man for president?
Okay, well, I got a question for you. Okay. If he becomes president, then we're basically giving him nuclear weapons, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, 100% that if either of us were anywhere near like he was and they knew we had weapons, they'd be banging on our door to take them. So why would we
Oh, you're
give
right.
him nuclear weapons?
Oh, there wouldn't even be a discussion. I mean, that's a constant. It's funny. All the gun grabbing laws, a lot of them hinge on, oh well, if you've been 5150 or if you've had a mental hold or a mental hospitalization, they don't want to give you guns, but they want to give this guy weapons of mass destruction, and
Yeah.
his brain doesn't work. That's insane,
What
right?
if he thinks he's making coffee one morning and he accidentally nukes Florida?
But seriously though, like when you think about it like that, like they want to hold citizens' Second Amendment rights back and I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying, on one token, they want to keep citizens from having guns for having possible mental breakdowns or mental problems in the past, and on the flip side of that, they want to give this guy who is clearly in some stage of dementia or uh, Alzheimer's, whatever it is, it's very blatantly obvious. They want to give him access to nuclear weapons and put him at the head of all of the U.S. arsenal.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense to me either. And in no way are we also advocating for, the mentally ill to be able to possess firearms. I mean, there is a certain balance that we are going to have to accept when it does come down to that. And that's going to be a topic that we'll probably touch on in the next episode, is going to be, firearm laws and what's considered constitutional and unconstitutional, so on and so forth. So that's not something I want to get into today, but we'll definitely, trust me, we will get to that.
Right.
But yeah, the other thing that I have problems with, and not get into anything about my political views here, just in general, why is it only between two parties? There, I know for a fact, are more than that. Why can't every single party that registers, why can't we have an online open debate where, we have some guy who can control everything, and maybe multiple guys, so it's not like unfair and he mutes this person purposely or whatever, but he can control who has the audio at the time, so it's not everyone yelling over the top of each other.
Well, see, that right there is your problem, is because it's fear and control. Because you've seen the Green Party in the past, you've seen what is it, the Tea Party, and you've seen these, and obviously there's the Libertarians, there's more far extremist groups on both sides, there's more middle of the road. There's all these different other parties, like you said. The reason that none of them have ever seen the light of day is fear and control. They use the two-party system to control it, and everybody has this fear, right? Like, so the Libertarian Party, right? If they were to run, the fear is that it would take a lot of votes away. And on the flip side, you have if you had a strictly liberal party, right? And that was the whole thing with Bernie Sanders, is if Bernie Sanders ran as a third party candidate, it would take a lot of votes away, primarily from the Democrat side. And then there's a lot of fear on their side. Well, we'll never be able to have the chance of removing Trump from office if we split our votes. And there is a lot of merit to that. They're right. And that's that fear and control that has kept it a two-party system, because every side is so afraid to lose the election that they won't take a stand and give another party a chance.
And then I think that's where we, the people, need to make our voices heard. In some shape or form, something needs to change where we can make sure that all candidates are given a proper platform.
Right, and I think we just need a third party that isn't Democrat or Republican, like you said, is just American and truly has American values and American people. A true party of the people, for the people, by the people, that doesn't pander one way or another, that isn't controlled by lobbyists and what have you. We need a party that actually serves the American people, and I think that's the only way I ever see a third party having a legitimate chance. But and I'd love to see it. It's just
Yeah.
how. But
That's things that maybe we can possibly see brought about in our time if the right people can get together and figure things out. It's gonna have to happen
absolutely,
somehow, some way. Um, it's just a crazy world that we live in with all that, and the fear mongering needs to stop from about everything, whether it's about COVID or the parties or the whatever. It just needs to stop, and we need to be given the truth. And you know what? That's what we're going to try and do here. We're going to try and bring you the truth from the point of view of the American people. We're going to try and use,
absolutely.
if you see something going on, take a video of it, send it to us. I'll put our email down in the description of the video here. Send it to us. Let us know what's going on. If you have, I want videos from all angles. If multiple people can capture it, the more cameras we have on it, the better. That's the only way that the truth is going to get out. We won't edit a thing. We'll even credit you in the video for taking the videos for us. So, I mean, that's our goals here, is to bring you the truth for the American people.
That's right. That's a pretty sweet deal too. But yeah, we don't want to censor anybody. We don't want to. We just want the truth. I think the American people are starving for the truth. It's so hard to come by the truth in today's society. So that's
well, not
that's
only
what we
that, but we're being
about.
suffocated by our rights being stripped away from us. Our
Absolutely.
right to assemble. I mean, why can't we assemble in a church, but we can go to Walmart?
No, man.
Answer me that. The perfect example. Here's another example. If there were armed people, or if there were people on your property late at night, they're not even late at night, during the day, broad daylight out, and there's people out there, and they are breaking your property. I mean, it depends on what your laws are in your state. I'm not sure about where the laws are in this place that we're getting ready to talk about, but if there were people out there breaking your property, would you not want to at least go out there and tell them to leave and be armed to defend yourself in case they decided to harm you?
Oh man, yeah, it brings up a great point. This St. Louis couple, this past, I guess it's been about 2 weeks now, but the story continues to unfold in front of us. You'd think that that's what anybody would do, right? Like, if somebody's at the front gate of your house, breaks down the gate, and they're hassling and heckling and making noise, and I would honestly, you can see it in their eyes. They're scared for their safety and the safety of their home, and their property and their rights are already being infringed upon. People have stormed on and broke through their gate and have now illegally entered their private, and there are signs there that say private property. So I feel like, especially like you said, depending on the rights, or your rights given to you depending on the state you're in, they were well within their rights to not only have those firearms, but in some cases use them depending on the state. So
yeah. Okay, so these people broke into the private property there. It was a fenced-off area owned by a homeowners association, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. And you know what? It was actually, they had signage posted and everything. They were well within their rights to, I mean, at that point, these people have broken down and harmed and damaged property, and as well as they are trespassing at this point. And, these people are afraid. They're afraid for their lives. You can see it on, they're afraid for their lives and their property, and you can see it in their faces from all the pictures and the videos. Like, these people don't know what to expect when an angry mob is outside of their house and is bashed through their front gate. Like, and depending on the state you're in, they are well within their rights to have even used in some states those weapons. That's kind of the how the laws read in a lot of states is, if they're afraid, if damage is done to their property and they are afraid for their lives, and somebody has trespassed, they're well within their rights to take action. And now you're seeing them vilified in the mainstream media.
Yeah, and here it says, I guess, Kim Gardner, the circuit attorney there in St. Louis, I guess, said that it is illegal to wave weapons in a threatening manner that is unlawful in the city of St. Louis. Now, okay, what constitutes a threatening manner? So if I pull a gun on someone who's trying to harm me, and they call the cops and say I was waving a gun in a threatening manner, am I going to jail now because I tried to defend myself, even though I didn't have to use it because they started running in
See,
the opposite direction?
right. Not to mention, like it's on your property and in the defense of your property. And in his case, he probably thought he was defending his life and his family's lives. That's what I don't understand. Is like these are citizens. They didn't discharge those firearms at any time. And from what I saw, they didn't weren't real. They didn't have uh, fingers on triggers pointed at these individuals. I could be wrong there. I'm not
I
100%, but either way.
think looking at this picture, yeah, she does. The wife does indeed have her finger through her pistol
Uh,
trigger guard.
maybe we'll scrap that. But
I mean, no, she just needs to be taught properly on trigger discipline. She was, I'll say it, and
yeah,
I've handled firearms in the past. 100%. You have to keep your fingers off the trigger until you are ready to shoot that. So she needs to keep her finger off that unless she was going to use it, and that's the first rule that you've ever taught when you start learning learning about a firearm from anybody is that keep your finger off that stupid thing because it will go off.
well, you're absolutely right there. But I mean, in her defense, though, she might have been ready to shoot at any of these individuals. They didn't. I'm sure that when these guys bashed through their gate, they weren't sure what they were coming out and what to expect. Now, that is what it is. The problem I have with it is the vilification in the media and in the news of them and turning them into what they've been classified as these race. Obviously they've been classified as racist and whatever, but also they've just been labeled as gun-toting whack jobs.
Yeah,
Which is
exactly.
completely false.
It says here, that Kim Gardner is recommending a diversion program such as community service rather than jail time if they're convicted. Typically, Class E felonies could result in up to 4 years in prison. Okay, but that's the key word though. There is that magic F word, that felonies. That means they
Right.
lose any right to protect themselves at that point. Okay, let me speak
Well,
from personal
so
experience here. I've grown up around firearms my entire life, and because of things that were said in a court proceeding, I no longer have my firearms because of someone that lied about it,
right.
and I had to sell my firearms because of their lies. And now I don't have a firearm to protect my house. I mean, trust me, I have plenty of other weapons besides firearms, and I don't need a gun to protect my family.
Right.
But it's just that right there. That's how they take them away, is stupid little things.
Absolutely. But unfortunately, if we're speaking from experience here, so they can. I know it being a Class E felony. I say that, but I'm not a felon. Don't get that mixed up. Not anyway. So a Class E felony is probably what I would assume is the lightest felony. It goes probably up to Class A.
Right.
Class E felonies are normally when you actually go to court, especially these two, from my understanding, is either they are lawyers or are they seem to be very well connected regardless. So even if they didn't, even a public defender for a Class E felony can normally plead you down to a misdemeanor. It'll be a high misdemeanor, it'll be a serious misdemeanor, but it won't have that felony stamp on it that you're talking about.
Right. Okay. So now I was a kid, so when I got into some trouble, I was a little hooligan at 14. I broke into my neighbor's house.
Right.
I paid for what I did. I was sent to juvenile hall. I pled down from felonies to misdemeanors, and because
Yep.
of that, my record when I turned 18 was sealed. I got off probation at 16 earlier than I was sentenced because of good behavior. I got my shit straight. I figured it out,
Right.
and that did not exempt me from purchasing firearms.
No.
when I bought them, but I think it did later on after California may have changed their laws a little bit. But it did prevent me from joining the military. I tried to join it 19, 20 years old, and they turned me away because of my, even though I was charged with, or because I pled to misdemeanors, was charged with felonies, and the recruiter said that they wouldn't take me.
Yeah, and that's just it. Is like even though they might not have the felony stamp, it does affect their lives for
Yes.
sure. No matter what, they will carry that forever, and they don't have the. They're a little bit older than 16, so their records can be expunged after I think it's either 7 to 10 years. I think it's state specific, but they can get it expunged later. But you're right; they carry that with them now for the rest of their life. They have, and I don't think they'll be having to fill out a whole lot of job applications, but they now can't say legally that they haven't been charged with a felony.
Right, exactly. And now, what if this would have been Joe Schmo? What if this would have been one of us that we can't afford a lawyer? We're not
That's just
lawyers
it.
ourselves. We're screwed. We're taking the felonies.
Oh yeah, well not only that is these people you can see by their house, and I hate to make assumptions, but if you look at their house, you can tell that these people are pretty affluent, they're pretty well off, and
Yeah.
these people are obviously upstanding members of their community with a lot of money, and this is what the mainstream media can do to them. Like you said, what is going to happen when Joe Schmo off the street? What happens when this happens? To say I did this, what are they going to do to me?
Yeah. It's all of us or
Vastly
none of
different,
us.
right? And they would bury me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Go to jail.
absolutely, absolutely, and especially in cases like this, they love to make examples out of people. So they would hit you. They might even get, and this never happens, but they might even hit you with the 4 years on a Class E felony, which is absurd
Wow.
and never happened. But they
Even if
like
you
to
plead
make
down to a
examples out of
year.
people. Right. But you're right. We'd see prison time. That's insane.
And so that's why I think that as Patriots, we need to rally up around what's going on here outside the courtroom, or outside the courthouse, not the courtroom. Don't go in the courthouse. Go stay outside. But
Yeah,
rally up around that and let your voice be heard.
absolutely. And that's just it. Is I keep trying to bring that to people's attention on our page and say, hey, look, this is what happens when you stand alone. All this mentality of, oh, I'll wait till it comes to my front door. These people did just that, and they've been vilified and basically crucified by the mainstream media. If you don't have support and you stand alone as one person they can label as a gun-toting whack job, this is what happens. That's why we're here trying to connect people with as many folks around them as possible so they can protect each other and their communities and save each other from these very circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, but yeah, exactly. We need to rally up more and get more people involved in what's going on, like you said.
100%.
Now, I'd like to move on to this next one, and this next one's kind of a heavy hitter.
Okay.
But it's something I'm very, very passionate about because having kids myself, I'm not sure if you do, Connor, but I have 3 kids myself.
Not yet.
And
I have not been blessed yet, but working on it.
well, this stuff makes me sick. Literally sick.
Okay.
There's just stuff I want to. You want to do something about it, and you want to do something so extreme, but you're not supposed to do that. So you don't even talk about it, right? But that's the kind of thoughts that pretty much everybody gets with this. You've heard about Epstein, right?
Absolutely.
All right. You've heard
Yep.
heard there's lots of big names connected to him and what goes on there. For those of you that don't know, rumor has it that Epstein was involved in and the reason why I say rumor is because he was never able to be brought to trial. He somehow died in prison while under suicide watch. So we'll get to that at some point. Trust me.
Wink, wink.
This will be a big segment. This will probably be something we touch on often. But
right.
So he had information about lots of different people that go pretty high up in our government, in our entertainment, in almost every aspect, in the corporations, everything
Yeah.
that goes on here. He seems to have connections to these people, and all these people, something's off because they.
Well, you remember?
Go ahead.
Do you remember earlier in our conversation when I said something about there is a class of people that has been deemed above the law, no matter how much we know that they are guilty?
That will be these people, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely, and specifically, honestly, the Clintons in this case. How many times have we seen people die in very mysterious circumstances when they had the edge or could put the Clintons out and make them look bad or ruin their name, you know? And it's not just Epstein for all those people that out there that think he's the first. He is not by far
There's
the
a list,
first.
something I think it's over 100 people long of that have mysteriously died after discovering things about the Clintons. I really
Right.
think it's that big. It might even be bigger than
It
100.
that would not surprise me at all.
I'll have to
And
ask
like
my
if you
friend.
look, it's
He might be able
insane,
to find
right?
that list for me again, and then I'll post it up to everyone to see. But yeah, it's insane. Like we're talking security guards, just security detail. Maybe they saw too much and they were going to talk, and
Right.
so
Well, and I
now,
mean,
now they just had a car
it's
accident suddenly, and
exactly,
were said to be
exactly, and it's
drunk, but their family knows. Wait a minute, they don't drink.
yeah, they've been sober for years. Well, it's the mysterious circumstances. It's the number of people. I'm sorry. Like I not the. I've considered myself a pretty friendly guy, but not everybody in the world, surprisingly, thinks I'm the best.
Right,
I mean
absolutely.
that's just how it works. Not everybody's going to be your biggest fan, but the people that I don't like don't die. You know
Right,
what I mean? They don't show
yeah.
up dead on a regular basis. You know.
All right, so then
And I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
no,
I
you're
almost
good.
went
You're
off on
good.
a tangent.
But okay, so just recently, trying to figure it out. It's trying to make me create an account, and I don't want to create a stupid account. What was her name?
Ghislaine Waters or
Solace.
whatever.
Judge Solace. Okay, so it was. All I have to do is type her name into the search engine, and she'll pop up with what's going on.
Right.
Because the link that I have here just doesn't want to work.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like them. I don't want to. No. I don't know who I like actually. I just need. Okay, here we go. This will work. Yep. So Judge Esther Solis, it was assigned to the Epstein bank case. I basically think it's a Dutch bank case. 4 days before husband and son were shot. Now here's the details from what I understand. I believe it'll say more here. Is that the son of a federal judge was killed and her husband injured when a gunman opened fire at their family home in New Jersey on Sunday night. The New Jersey U.S. District Court Judge Esther Solis' 20-year-old son Daniel was killed in the attack in New Jersey by a suspect dressed in a FedEx uniform. A guy dressed up in a FedEx uniform knocked on their door and said, "Here's your package. Pop, pop, pop." What the hell is that? Especially after being assigned to look into banking records. We know
of course,
we know a certain
this is
someone
exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, a certain someone with the C word or with a C in their name. They I'm pretty sure that they've donated tons of money to Epstein, and or somehow they're I guarantee you'd find stuff in there. So why did she just suddenly end up dying, or why was her family targeted? Well,
loose ends, man. That's exactly the name of the game. That's what we're talking about here. You know, and it's so far-reaching, like you said. I mean, look at Ghislaine. Well, I don't know how to say her name, but his Epstein's girlfriend,
Ghislaine or
right?
something like that.
Yeah, yeah. She just got indicted, right? And
She's
you
been
know,
taken into custody.
right, and it's all to the same tune, right? Is like and like you said, it's so out. It reaches so far, but between corporations and government and politics and Hollywood, and that's just it. Is like Hollywood, especially all the virtue signaling people they love to get good publicity, right? And say, "Oh, I'm here for the starving children here, or the homeless, or whatever cause it is," right? Not one person stood up and spoke out against Epstein or Ghislaine or whatever her name is. Not one of them was happy when she was arrested. None of it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And I mean, that just makes me sick thinking of the things that happened, like with Wayfair. You've heard about that, right?
Oh yeah, I
These
don't know the details on that
so
actually, but
basically,
I heard something.
it was found out that there were posts on their website for cabinets that you could go look them up on Amazon. They were 20, 40, 60, maybe $100. They were
Uh-huh.
for sale on this website for
Oh, I did see
tens of
that.
thousands of dollars.
No, no, no.
Insane.
It wasn't quite that much, but I did see that it was like 15,000 or 10,000. And you know what was weird about that is when you put the product in, it would return the name of an abductee of a person.
Right,
A
that's
person's
the
name would come back.
conspiracy. I know there's been
No,
several
I've
times
actually
that
seen it.
they've looked it up and there is a matching name with that. I mean, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because I've seen the exact same
Right,
thing you
right,
have. But okay,
right.
there is a coincidence that there is a missing child with the same name that shows up on these cabinets that are selling for insane amounts of money.
That's a that's a hell of a coincidence, don't you
It gets
think? I
even
mean, that just
better.
doesn't make any sense.
It gets even better. There is in Wayfair, some employees have come out and talked about there being a Platinum Plus sales team, and that
Mm,
if you somehow get in contact with a Platinum Plus member, you are not to deal with them at all, and you are to send it directly to the Platinum Plus sales team,
of
and that
course,
you could
because
be
only
fired
specific
for
people can talk
touching them.
about selling children. Yeah, because only
Exactly.
specific people can talk about selling children.
There are way too many coincidences, and you know what? I'll tell you one thing. I'm not one who really does believe in coincidences.
Me either.
So,
Especially crazy ones like that.
my honest opinion is that if things are like this are going on, who can you really trust? And now, once again, let me just state this for the record: I would definitely rather have Trump than Biden. Okay, I'm not particularly
Right.
per se a Trump supporter. I like him as our president. I believe he's been doing a fantastic job. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I was not someone who voted for Trump. Like I said, I
Fair.
vote for the person who I believe will do the best in their ability.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You know, I am never going to tell anybody who to vote for. I've already said that I do have more of a conservative side to me, and I did vote for Trump, and I will be voting for Trump again. But it is never up to me to tell you who to vote for. I will tell you that everybody should vote because that's the only way that you will have your voice heard. So that's my 2 cents on that. But I don't know. You're right. Who can you trust this day and age? Where do
Because
you go when it seems the top down? It's all corrupt.
there are plenty of photos of Trump with Epstein, and
I heard that, and I've heard the side that, he only had limited contact with him, and that's how he was able to basically ban him and turn him away. I don't know. I That's above my pay grade. I I would hope that our president isn't, but I mean, I don't know.
right, absolutely. If anyone can send me evidence that he's not, I know that there's videos of him saying that what's going on there or what has happened there is deplorable and disgusting and everything. But I'm sorry, you were there and you didn't do anything about it then. You're only now talking about it now that things are starting to come out. I mean, this Epstein thing isn't
Well,
anything new. He was charged back in, I think it was the 80s or 90s or something. He was charged several years ago with something to do with child porn or
It
child
was the
molestation.
90s, and it was a woman and her sister. I do remember that. And, I mean, obviously, Trump, until very recently, hasn't had the power to do something, and he hasn't really had much of a presidential go of it, has he? I mean, he's accomplished a lot, but he's been fought at every turn for every single on. He's been fought on every word he said by the Democrat Party. Like
Absolutely.
he has not been able to have a presidency. So I I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he is fighting this from somewhere on the inside, but that's really the head of the snake right there, right? Like he has to clear the way, and I'm hoping against hope that he gets elected for the second term and changes everything. And really, at
Right.
that point, he doesn't have to angle for another term, and he can take the gloves off and go all out.
Absolutely. And if that happens 100%, I'll back him up with that. Um,
Right.
Truly. But I don't want to find down the road that, guess what? He was involved.
Right. No, I think that would be a disaster for all of us and the country. So, right now, like I said, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I say that because, like I just said, it would be a disaster for everybody if the opposite were true. Um, that's yeah. For right now,
That'll definitely
I
be
yeah,
that'll be a developing story on what goes on with this whole cult. I mean, have you heard everything like the Red Shoe Club? You heard about that?
I have not.
Uh,
Oh yes, where they all have the certain red shoes that they wear, and it's part of their symbolism in the cult and all that. Yeah, I
yeah,
have heard a little bit about that.
I'm not going to talk about where it comes from and everything. If you want to know that, go look it up. I will tell you off of recording. So, yeah, and there's even Home Alone. The Kevin, I think his name.
Oh yeah, what's
Kevin's the kid.
Kevin Macaulay
Yeah,
Culkin, yeah.
yeah. He's talked about stuff like where he was like 11 years old. It was right. It was during the filming for Home Alone 2, and some guy came
Hmm.
in wearing red shoes and a red wallet, and told him all about it.
Ugh,
And
that's
he
disgusting.
he was trying to get
I
Kevin to smoke crack with him and telling him that you're gonna go
uh,
big, kid. You just got to do what you got to do to get there. And Kevin
that's
the whole time
insane.
was like, "No, man, I'm 11. I don't want to smoke crack with you. I don't want to do these things with you. Leave me alone." And then guess what? Kevin was never involved in
Yeah,
another
he's
Home Alone movie again.
right, and he was a raging drug addict. I mean, how else are you going to cope with the
Exactly.
horrors and trauma that they went through? I can't even imagine. But
Crazy
I know
what
that
happened.
disgusts me.
It very much. And you know what? That right there. If there's no other reason, if you don't see any other reason change needs to happen, that right there that is it. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your party affiliation is. If you know that this is happening, and it is, don't trust me, it's happening. It may not be
Yeah, no,
everyone that we're
absolutely.
saying and thinking is involved, but you know what? The truth needs to come out, and the truth will come out one day, and those responsible will stand in front of justice, and that justice will come
Right.
swiftly, I believe, and to the full
Oh,
extent,
let's absolutely hope so.
because we're talking
I
thousands,
can't.
possibly thousands of
Oh, I
children
know,
go
and I.
missing worldwide. We're not talking.
Well,
This isn't
yeah, and
just
I.
an American problem. This is a world problem because they're going missing from
Oh,
everywhere.
absolutely. Well, and that's the problem too, right? Is it wouldn't happen just like anything. Anything that you can imagine, it wouldn't happen if there wasn't a market for it, and
And there is.
that right there. That is the problem.
That's what every patriot, no matter what, every person in America should stand behind that. And if you don't, if you agree with that, guess what? Your day's coming. Your day in the pit is numbered.
Uh, I mean, I have something I want to send to you. It's there's California legislation now going through that's trying to basically it's a bill to protect sex offenders who lure minors in the state of California. Um, Basically, no sex offender registry if perpetrator within 10 years of age of the minor. So as long as you're 13 and I'm 23, I can lure you and not be put on a sex offender registry. And that's
Uh,
actually 100% fact.
Right, absolutely. If
that's
that's
happening right
okay,
now.
it's at Senate Bill 145. I can look that up. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, this is popping something up, definitely. From okay, this is you. Anyone can go now look this up. It's legal or leginfo.legislator.ca.gov. If you just type in literally CASB 145 into Google any search engine, this will be what pops up first thing. Okay. Um, as amended. Let's see, when did this? As you can hear, I have children. Oh, I gotta laugh. Introduced by Senator Wiener.
Yeah, I know. I saw that too. I saw that
But
too.
this
Hmm.
is over a year old.
I know. That's what I'm saying. People don't know about it though.
People don't know that this was amended in July 2019, amended in Senate May 21st, 2019, and amended again in Senate March 4th, 2019. And so I don't know if this is full yet. I don't know if this has gone through. But at the very least, this
Right,
is
but the
going
fact
through
that
what's
it's a
going on.
bill, that's what I'm saying. The fact that they're trying to pass a bill like this and it has like any kind of traction is disgusting.
Right. Absolutely. Existing law, the Sex Offenders Registration Act requires a person convicted of one of certain crimes as specified to register with law enforcement as a sex offender while residing in California or while attending school or working in California as specified. Willful failure is a misdemeanor or felony. It should be a felony, depending on where the
Yeah.
underlying offense. Or depending on the underlying
Well, it's
offense. Okay, so
insanity.
basically, I think what it's saying is if you get caught for peeing in a park next to a playground, because that's going to get you on the
Oh,
sex offenders list,
right.
then you're not going to get charged with the felony if you don't register. You might get charged again with the misdemeanor.
Right.
Okay, so I think that vote majority operation, no. Fiscal committee, yes. Local program, no. I don't know. So obviously it needs a majority vote.
Right.
Shall be cited. All references to the act in this section refer to this. Every person described. Person's life or all residing in California. Following persons shall register. Any person who since July 1st, 1944 has been or is hereafter convicted in any court in the state or in any federal military court of a violation of Section 187 committed in the perpetration or an attempt to perpetrate rape or any acts punishable under. Basically, we need to find someone who's a lawyer in our
Yeah, that's right.
in our group here, and we need to ask him to go over this and give us bulletin because you know what, I'm not a lawyer.
Right. I know. I
So
am not either. I couldn't begin to unpack it all and tell you exactly what it means, but yeah.
right, I mean, if I sat down here like after this and looked it all over and checked it all out, I could probably give you a general gist, but I couldn't do it right now while we're doing a recording. So I'll definitely
Right.
check that out. I'm going to put that in our little note. All right, and so
Okay.
we're going to go ahead and finish up here with here we're going to give us a little bit of history about the Patriots for the Reclamation of America and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. We started off, what really started all this was a few of us. It was me in the very beginning seeing what was going on in this country. And, I reached out to another group that I was a part of. And, I saw the question posed like, what happens if there's, in the event of like a civil war or something crazy breaks out? Like, is anybody prepared for that? And I reached out, and that's actually where I found Bethany, and I started the page, and we've been rolling ever since. It's really started and has been based on, and will always. The core of this group will always be, connecting people with those around them to make secure and defend, our neighborhoods and our communities and each other. Seeing all the damage and the violence going on, we want people to have people they're able to call and a plan to follow, when it does reach their door. And obviously that planning does have to go be done today, not tomorrow. You can't plan for tomorrow, and so many people think that they have the time, but we clearly don't. So and it has taken off, quite a bit. Obviously, the main page is closing in on about 25,000 uh, as we're as of where this conversation is today, and you know, all of our other pages probably account for another 25,000, roughly 50,000, somewhere in that ballpark, and that happened in a matter of 31, 32 days, and it's all thanks to every single Patriot out there turning around and finding as many people as they possibly can to get on board with this. And our group is largely defensive. We show up to um, any BLM or Antifa rallies and make sure they go peaceful, and we're prepared if they don't. We stand with local law enforcement. Like I said from the beginning, we do everything legally by the books and above the board. But what I'd like to see going forward as our membership grows is taking a bit more of an offensive stance. And by doing that, I don't mean we're going to go hunt people down. That's not in no way will, like I said, everything we do is legal. We're not going to be doing that by any means, but by setting up freedom rallies and back the blue rallies of our own, we've put the ball in their court to show up, and then that's how I feel we go make an offensive adjustment here moving forward. And I'd like to see that. And on the national stage too, I know we're going to have a gigantic showing at the RNC convention, as well as just continue to show up in every state when the community calls on us and when we can be there. That's really where I'd like to see us go from here.
Right, absolutely. And so we're about, 30, 35 days, I think you said, in this, and we're
Something like
already
that.
at 25,000.
Yep.
And that's quite a bit, and that's some good growth. We could definitely get more. We definitely have the room to expand on that. But 25, we're doing pretty good. We just need to get, organized, and that's what every group needs to do. And I think that what we've been working on is definitely going to get us more organized and get the group going.
Absolutely. The groundwork's been laid for us to take on as many people as possible. I'd love to have every single conservative out there on board with us. And yes, we do have the room to grow, and we've set it up as such. Everything kind of hinges on the fact that everything depends on the people themselves. It's not me, it's not you, it's not Bethany, it's not one person in particular. It's everybody coming together for a common goal here and making sure that they do get to their meet and greets in the States, and that way they form those personal relationships with those around them, and the sky's really the limit here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we could even go as far as doing Patriot, camping trips where we all go meet up at a campground or whatever and just, have a big old party, basically. As long as it's COVID safe, right?
There you go, yeah.
You party over there, we'll party over here, they'll party over there.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, no, I'd love to see that in the future. Like I said, bonding and because this is it's all based on trust, right? And that's the big hurdle for everybody getting started is, we're a very skeptical group to begin with, and you're trying to ask people to trust, and that's where those meet and greets happen, that's where they play a huge role. So, yeah, I'd love to see things like that.
So, with that finished up, we're going to go ahead and move into the final segment here, which is the sneak preview to the forums. Now, you guys are probably going to be seeing this within a couple days of the recording here, and that means that we're going to be really close to actually opening it up publicly to everybody. And so what you're going to see here is definitely not a finished product. We're definitely always expanding and adding things onto it. You will be seeing it from the admin side of my account, and you can see everything. And so Connor has the same permissions on the forum, and see everything that I can, do everything that I can. So don't think that just because he's not around, you won't get caught.
So, all right, this is exciting.
Absolutely,
I'm stoked for this, Mike. You got to take some credit here because this is you've been huge and instrumental in setting this up for us. So
just trying to do my part. That's basically what it comes down to, trying to do my part and get us more organized than what we were when I came in and saw everything. But it's just going to be a place where we can get away from the politics and the government of being watched over by Facebook. Facebook's their platform.
100%.
They can do whatever they want on it, and if they don't like what's on it, they can close it down. They have every right. Welcome to America, people. Now, we may not like that, but guess what? If that's the decision that they make, we're out of a forum to talk to each other. So I went ahead and, with working closely with Connor here, I created this forum for all of us. And of course, I'm going to stick around and dedicate my time afterwards and continue to run it for Patriots here. Yep. And I joined up on the group out of my own free will, and so I'm going to stay here with my own free will. And this is going to give us the avenue to organize better. We're going to get better information, and we're going to be able to relay information quicker through the forums, right. I believe. We're going to eventually get a chat room that's going to set up somewhere on here. I know you're not looking at my screen, obviously, since it's a recording, but you'll see it in the video. But, we got all the states down here ready to go. You guys don't need to worry about what's underneath anything under admins and stuff, because obviously that's for us. But, we got hunting and survival tips. Now we're not talking about, survival of... going, how are you going to survive in a civil war? We're talking, you got lost out in the woods and now you broke a leg. Well, we can tell you how to fix that, and or give tips and tricks. Hey, in this area, these are the kind of berries you want to look for. You need especially if you're going to go out into an area that maybe we have members, they might know the area and they might be able to help you out and give you pointers on where to go and stuff like that. Our chapters here, you'll see that there's one for each and every state, and as well as one for national events. Obviously, that's going to be so each state can have their own little place that they keep their discussions for their state in, and then we have the national level where if it affects everybody, and let's be honest, nowadays a lot of stuff does affect everybody, but seeing what's going on in St. Louis right now, it doesn't affect me immediately here in California. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could go out there and put my support with everyone that's going out there to they're protesting the NFAC, I think. Yep. Yeah, so of course I'd like to go out there and put my support behind that. I don't agree with the NFAC and the way that they handle their stuff. So why would I back them? I'd go back the people that are trying to keep the peace, and that's going to be us. So, that doesn't affect absolutely. Us, but that could be stuff that's posted up in the states. Of course, absolutely. Put a link up in the national events and link it back to your state forum. Everyone can post in any state. We're not going to be like, oh, sorry, you dirty Californians can't go and talk to the Connecticut people because you're dirty Californians. Right. You got to stay in your own state. No, we are all Americans, and we all have to be in this together, so everyone can post on every single state.
Right. Also, I did want to mention real quick on here, for those of you listening, we do run a Q&A every Sunday for the entire group. So if anybody needs clarity, bring your questions, bring your inquiries, and we'll try and get everybody squared away as best as possible.
And I think with that we're probably going to wrap it up here. And we thank you all for tuning in. Once again, I'm Michael. This is Connor. And well, I'm not technically an admin of the Facebook group. Would you consider me an admin of the organization, though?
Absolutely.
So I'm one of the admins of the organization. Connor here is actually our founder, along with his co-founder Bethany, who is not present today. And I don't know, maybe one day here she'll want to come on and talk about stuff. So
yeah, I'd love to have on Bethany as well as some other of our state leaders. Different people, promoting different events and everything. That's
absolutely. So
I think that this will be a great place for that.
Absolutely. And for now, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will definitely be catching you guys next time.
All right.